I'm Last Son Jim, and welcome to Jim's Comic Corner. See, I told you it would only be a week. So, here we are back with this week's comics. Like I said, I was gonna wait until I got caught up, so that this episode we're all nice and caught up, so we're not behind, we're all on point. Now here, looky. Here's the comics we're looking at today. So we've got Flash, number 17. Rogues Reloaded. Action Comics, number 974. Mild Mannered. Superman, number 18. And Nightwing, number 16. First off, look at that cover. Isn't that a nice cover? It's obviously reminiscent to the Batman Robin cover, but with Nightwing and Robin. We'll start with this, as we've got it. The reason that's like that is because the book starts off with Damian Wayne in the Teen Titans Towers. Hearing that, reading on Twitter, except it's not Twitter, it's called Chirper. Nice. That everyone reckons that obviously no one knows Dick Grayson, but Nightwing will end up taking over Batman's role when Batman doesn't want to do it anymore. And obviously Damian Wayne, Robin, thinks that he should take over the role instead of Nightwing. So he's well moody anyway. Damian Wayne's well moody all the time. So he's moody about this as well. So he's like, right, I'm going to Bloodhaven to figure out what's going on with Nightwing. Meanwhile, if you remember, I said Nightwing started seeing a girl. Well, there's lots of that going on in here, him and this girl. But she rings him up, and she's just like, you need to come by, and you might want to bring a pregnancy test with you. Shock horror. New Grayson up in this place. Try not to swear. So while Nightwing's running around beating people up, he's got this whole thing on his mind, and then Damian Wayne turns up, and he's just like, I'm the new Batman. And he's like, what are you doing? I've got enough on my plate without you turning up and being all annoying. He's like, listen, come find me in a bit, I've got to go and see my girlfriend. So he goes to see his girlfriend, and she's missing. Damian Wayne turns up, and he's just like, well, we're going to have to find her. I can help you. Come on, let's go. And at the end, he's just like, have you stolen the old Batmobile? And Damian Wayne's like, obviously. Let's go. But the very, very last page, we have a man standing there who is dressed up in Nightwing's old costume, in the red and black. And he says, and now broken Nightwing needs Deathwing. Da, 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 da. So there we go. We've got a new villain on the streets with Nightwing, and his name's Deathwing. So quite looking forward to where that's going. I'm really enjoying Nightwing at the moment. It's getting really, really good. Let's jump into Flash, number 17. Remember the last time I told you Captain Cold had a black ice gun. Turns out that it's an ice gun, but it's infused with the Speed Force, so it causes Flash no end of problems in that it affects him like to the Speed Force, even like further than his bones. He just like, he freezes him in the Speed Force, so he's not just able to really vibrate quickly or anything. Now, this was an okay comic, but it felt a little bit... Flash has been really, really good recently, and it just felt filler. It felt like a filler comic. He was fighting the rogues again, like he did in the last episode. Even though Captain Cold had this gun, he still managed to beat them and outwit them. And it kind of ends with Captain Cold in prison saying that he's having a go at everybody and saying that he's the new boss of Central City. But it just kind of, it felt a bit weak after the last issue, where it was just like, oh, Captain Cold's finally got this thing that can stop the Flash. Turns out he didn't. He stopped him for like 2 minutes before the Flash got up and just beat everybody down. So that felt a bit filler. Not sure where that's going now. There's still some other stuff coming up, hopefully with the Speed Force and the Black Hole Gang and all of that, the whole Speed Force storm that they had. But at the moment, it feels like they're trying to bridge a gap between the end of the last story and the start of the next one. Now, Superman and Action Comics. If you remember last time I said that they weren't their timelines were a bit skewed and you didn't exactly know where to go with them. They've just gone and synced them up. These episodes sync together. So the end of this is the start of this. So they've crossed over the two storylines. So here, if you see the front cover, you've got Superman versus Clark Kent in this one. Now, a lot of people were confused with what I said about this whole Clark Kent business. Now, I was confused myself. So there's a Clark Kent who's not Superman, who everyone thought was, well, not everyone, but obviously Clark and Lois that have moved into this universe thought that he was a Clark Kent for that universe as Superman. Turns out he's not. No one knows who he is. This comic, when it starts, Superman's trying to help Lana Lang, who's Superwoman at this point. Her powers are going all crazy and he's trying to help her, so that he's in the Fortress of Solitude. Meanwhile, someone else is trying to break into his other Fortress of Solitude, because obviously he's had a Fortress of Solitude now on this Earth, and so did the other Superman, so there's two Fortresses of Solitudes. Not really sure that works, because it's solitude, there should only be one. Anyway, while that's all happening, someone's trying to break into that. But then also, Lois Lane is going out on a date with this other Clark Kent to try and figure out exactly who he is. They've done a bunch of tests and they've run DNA and they've done everything. They've done a memory scan and he seems to be Clark Kent. He's got some differences in his upbringing and obviously he doesn't have any superpowers. So they're just like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? So Lois goes on a date with him. She's just like, well, if I can take him out to dinner, I'm a good reporter. I can figure out what's going on with him. But he comes on way strong and he actually ends the evening by proposing to her. And she's just like, what? What are you doing? Obviously no one knows that she's really married to the other Clark Kent, because no one knows that the other Clark Kent is there yet. Are you with me? So it ends though kind of creepy. So you've got Clark, Lois and John Kent, obviously their son, sitting down for dinner, and the other Clark Kent, so the Clark Kent from this Earth that we don't know who he is. We need a name for this other Clark Kent. Let's call him Clarky Kent, yeah, because then we can differentiate between Clark Kent and Clarky Kent. He stood outside and he's just like, what's going on? Who's that person? Now I remember, it's all coming back. You've ruined my life. You've ruined everything. You're going to pay. And that's how that Action Comics ended. But right at the end, it was just like, continued in Superman 18. Superman Reborn. There you go, Superman Reborn. So that's what this is. I need the variant cover of this because it's a Gary Frank cover. And while this is an okay cover, the Gary Frank one's amazing. He's amazing. So there's craziness going on in this book. Basically, this other Clark Kent leaves a present. It's Clark and Lois's anniversary, and this Clarky Kent leaves a book on their doorstep and then walks away. Just after seeing John Kent, and he's just like, and in the book is pictures of Clark's family and pictures of Clark's family and his life at the Daily Planet and stuff, but without Superman, without John Kent. And they're like, what is this? What is going on? We don't really understand. And obviously we still don't really understand what's going on. And then the entire house sort of erupts in sort of these white flames. It's not burning, but things are beginning to disappear. So like the house is disappearing around them, including John Kent. Like, one minute he disappears and he appears in a different part of the house. Superman grabs him, tries to save him, but then he disappears in front of him. It's actually quite sad, you know. You've got two parents and they're trying to look after their son, and there's nothing they can do. One of them's Superman, and there's nothing he can do. And he just disappears in front of him. And they're just like, what is going on? And they're just like, it must, you know, we're going to find out what's going on. And we start with Clarky Kent. So that's where we are with that, with Superman. So does it continue in... Yeah, so the next one actually continues in Action Comics. So now we have a storyline that's bridging the two. So it's going to go Action Comics Superman, Action Comics Superman. Which is good because it means it's a storyline running every single week. That's running continuously. So that's going to be interesting. So yeah, good comics this week. I like the fact that they bridged the gap there. I'm enjoying Nightwing. Flash felt like filler, but I'm sure it'll pick up again. And that's it. Really, check them out. Get them from your local comic book shop. That's important. Always the local comic book shop. None of these big places. That's what I do. I have a local comic shop and I go in there and they get me my comics every single week. They're a nice bunch of guys too. 30th Century Comics. I do believe you can order online from them. So check them out if you can. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Things seem to be going well. We're 2 weeks in and I haven't missed an episode yet. Expect another one in about a week's time. Next week it'll only be 2 comics though, so it'll be a lot shorter. And then we'll carry on doing that, so each week it'll only be 2 comics. A lot shorter, nice quick little pow, and then we out. But that's it. Thanks very much. Let me know what you think of this video and if you're enjoying what I'm doing here. Don't forget to head over to the website snackonline.co.uk, which is probably on the bottom somewhere here. And like, share, subscribe to my channel, do all of that funky jazz, and I will see you next time.